Now let's hop in our boat and head directly north, travelling to Woodlark Island to hear from Geopacific Resources. Please welcome the Managing Director of Geopacific, Ron Heeks. Ron.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Patrick. It's a good lead-in for us. We are just north of Missimer at Woodlark Island. I'm talking to you about Woodlark Island today, which, if there's a takeaway from this talk, I'd like to leave you with a thought that it's probably in the next line of producers. And that's a big change for us, quite a change in actual fact, because 4 weeks ago, most people put us in the explorer mode. So in the last 4 weeks, we have released our resources, our reserves, and our PFS, and the numbers look pretty good, and we're 7 weeks into our DFS. So giving you a bit of a summary of where we are on the PFS, it's a pretty good project. We've got 100,000 ounces per annum production profile for 10 years. Very good free milling ore of greater than 90% for most of the operation. Head grade of up to 1.6 in the first few years, and like all the PNG projects, it's around about that sort of grade. The real standout for us is the strip. Very, very low strip ratio, 2.5 for the first 5 years, 3.1 mine of life, and what that does to the cost base of the project is quite fantastic. It gives us an all-in sustaining cost of sub 800 for the first couple of years and sub 1,000 Aussie for the first 5 years. The PFS now complete. We're into the DFS. It's a 17-week process for that. We're 7 weeks into it now. We're seeing some good tightening up of the numbers that came through in the PFS. We really didn't try and squeeze the lemon too much in the PFS. We're leaving a bit open there to tighten that up. But on those numbers, we still get a 2.5 year, or less than 2.5 year payback. The really important thing about this project is it's fully permitted. That was a historical thing from the company there before us. And it's a 2-year process basically to permit a mine in most of the world now, but certainly in PNG. That's done. We can build this project tomorrow, so totally de-risked from that point of view, and that's very, very important. Management team, we've done this before. We've built over 10 mines in 7 countries now and 3 different commodities. We've built mines on islands before, and we've built mines in very logistically challenged areas. We see Woodlark as one of the easiest builds that we've done. It's very easy to get supplies in and out. We don't face the logistical challenges of hills and other things. It's a great place to work. More than anything else, we've also got our exploration upside, and we see this as easily a 5 million ounce field, and as Andrew has indicated and Patrick before, 5 million ounces is a bit of a baby for PNG, so we see that as a stepping stone to even bigger numbers. Where are we corporately? We've got a market cap at the moment of about 70 million. We've got cash in the bank after a 10 million raise a week or so ago, about 12, so we're well and truly cashed up. And we were funded for DFS, but we had a very strong mandate from our current shareholders to get out there and keep drilling, so we raised a bit more money to do that. We've got 1 rig fired up at the moment, another one on the way to site shortly, so we'll be running 2 rigs and looking forward to some good numbers from that. And I might point out that over the last 16 months, we have drilled 30,000 metres. Pretty well all of that was development drilling around the current pit areas. What we're doing now is really scoping out that exploration for the very first time. A great list of shareholders, the envy of some companies there. We've got a huge amount of support from our shareholders, and look forward to that to continue on. Where are we? You've seen the map a couple of times now, so about 90 nautical miles north of Missimer, hour-and-a-half flight out of Port Moresby, very easy place to get to. We've got a very good runway, which was kindly built by the Americans for us in World War II. That's big enough to take bombers, and in fact we've still got a bomber, so that's quite handy. The standout for us, Simberi, just up the north, very, very similar to us, slightly lower grade, similar sort of tonnage on an island. Same sort of logistics, but a little bit hilly, whereas we're not. But currently really kicking some goals up there, and they can really show you that you can mine these sorts of ore bodies very, very economically, and Lahire also doing the same sort of thing. The island itself, it's about 70 k's long, 20 k's wide, 600 square k's of exploration licence, and 60 square k's of fully permitted mining licence sitting in the middle. Most of our resources and reserves are spread pretty evenly between the two major deposits, being Coolamadaw and Busai. They're about 5 kilometres apart. The mill will sit in between of those, and we've got a very safe port facility down on the bay there, just south of Coolamadaw, and really does help the logistics. I'll just give you a bit of a run through here, fly through. There we are. Totally surrounded by world-class operations. Very good. And zooming into the island, you can see the slide we just had a look at. Exploration licence and huge potential. We're the only player on the island. It's about 6,000 people there, the major deposits. We'll have a look at Coolamadaw now. This was historically mined up until World War I. The 7-level shaft there was about 200,000 ounces taken out. No open cut material. As you can see, lots of drilling there. There's about 300,000 metres of drilling on the island, spread between the deposits and exploration. Block model there, open every direction, was still only about 120 metres deep for most of that pit, so a lot of potential to push deeper down and go along strike. That's the mining sequence for that area. Goes through pretty quickly, but very simple mine plan there, and large potential to improve that and actually turn it all into one big pit. Busai, same story, very easy area to get to, lots of drilling, very, very robust resources and reserves on these deposits. As you can see, there's more than enough drilling there. Several generations by several companies that we've inherited, but very, very high reliability on that. Most of our deposits are measured and inferred, and measured and indicated, very little inferred, because of the work that we've done over the last 16 months to tighten that up. So as you can see, a lot of mineralisation hanging outside the pit there. That needs to be worked on. Again, the mining sequence, very simple at Busai. No issues there. The topography of the island, very, very flat, and you'll get a feel for that in a minute. This is over the top of the Busai deposit, looking towards the camp, just slightly on the left-hand side there, and flying around having a look at Coolamadaw in the distance. That's about 5k away. As you can see, we're not challenged by topography at all here. The bay offshore, very, very easy place to get in and out of. And looking back towards Busai, there's a small village there that we have to move. People are very keen to go, in actual fact. But very, very easy place to work. Very, very easy place, and I think that's the big takeaway. Mineralisation from surface. You can see our drill pads. Camp already in place for 120 people, easily expandable out to 240, so more than enough to start to build. Small port facility there. We'll actually build a new port facility on the other side of this bay, where it drops off nice and deep. Looking back, and the major deposits are at the end of that bay. This is our local village. Islanders here, they're actually dressed for Independence Day. They don't normally go to school dressed like that. Very, very friendly people. We have no security issues here at all. There's no police on the island. There's no security. It's as safe a place as you could ever be. That's a schoolyard. As you'll see, it's immaculate. They're very proud people. A lot of experience in work, and I'm not the world's greatest drone pilot, I must admit. The ore body itself, it's a typical epithermal ore body, high-grade zones, and there's some spectacular hits in there that you can have a look at. Surrounded by lower-grade mineralisation as they are, we've focused on trying to extract all of that. And as you can see within the pit shell, a very high percentage of mineralisation in there. A good free dig component as well. It's a pretty easy ore body to mine. Looking in section, again, you can see some pretty special numbers in there, but the whole thing bulks out at about that 1.5 gram. But there is the potential, as you can see down the bottom here, 53 metres at 3.9, basically hanging out the bottom of the pit. So a lot of potential to push these ore bodies down a lot further. Resource-wise, 50 million tonnes at a gram, and reserve 35 million tonnes at about the same grade for 1.1 million ounces. So very good conversion of resources into reserves. What that means is we need to go and do a lot more drilling. The plant, pretty standard SABC, CIL circuit, 2.4 million tonne per annum processing, plus 90% recovery, very straightforward, nothing new there. From year 3, we put in an upgrade circuit, which is a very simple circuit that takes the 0.3 to 0.6 material and upgrades that to 1.4 just using gravity. That throws about another 20,000 ounces into the circuit, which adds to the project a lot. And I think you'll see those circuits starting to pop up around the place more and more as people work out the benefit of being able to upgrade some of this mineralisation. $180 million cap cost for the project. That includes an $18 million pre-strip and $22 million worth of earth-moving fleet, which will more than likely be an off-balance sheet purchase. Really good IRRs, as I say, project payback 2 and a bit years, which is very excellent. And realistic costs. And we think of all our costs, most of which are currently sitting at DFS level, with the exception of the processing cost. You'll see there $15 a tonne for, $18 a tonne for processing. That's probably a bit high, given that it's 2.4 million tonne per annum plant, soft dirt, free milling. That's probably a bit high, and we'll think that will tighten up through the DFS project. But very simple circuit. You'll see the production profile there. Again, very straightforward, very robust, pretty even spread of gold coming out, 100,000 ounces a year, nice grade into the CIL through the mine life. Low strip is what it's all about up front. That allows for that early payback, but even when the strip hits its maximum, we still only average 3.1, which puts you miles ahead of the sort of 7.5s and 8.5s to most projects. So it makes it very, very robust. Payback, 2.5 or under 2 years. We've got 1 million ounces, so the upside to gold price is pretty easy. Every dollar gives us, on the gold price, gives us $1 million. So at the moment, we're sitting about $200 million above where we did our pre-fees. Where are we on the curve? We've just completed the PFS. We rolled straight into the DFS. We've got a huge amount of information that's already been generated on this project, so that allowed a very quick turnover through there. It's a 17-week job. Like a Podium are running that for us in conjunction with other consultants and our own project team, which is deeply involved in the management and running of the DFS. That'll be finished in August. We're having financing discussions now. You know, you never know how long those things are going to take in the world that's controlled by tweets out of the States. But we would like to be putting our foot on the ground here to start to build this year, if that's possible. And that really puts us up there in the next stage of producers. Exploration upside, early exploration upside is around the pits. That yellow area there is the village that you saw in the fly-through. We haven't been able to drill in that area, except for that one red dot in the middle. That's the schoolyard where you saw the video of. The locals let us drill there last Christmas. Our best hit there was 24 metres at 4.6. We think there's probably 100,000 ounces in that area that will actually fall straight into the initial mining reserve as soon as we can move the village. Bigger picture, easily a 5 million ounce field, a lot of workings around the place. Some of the mineralisation hidden under a thin coral layer from when the island was underwater. That's hidden a fair bit of stuff, but there's some good structures happening under there, and huge potential for ore bodies under that coral layer, as is Coolamadaw East, which is an ore body found by the good old engineers when they said we're going to put the waste dump there, and so sterilisation drilling was put out, and that found us Coolamadaw East. The metrics, where do we sit on that? Compared with the group, where our brokers have put us in with Gold Road, Gascoigne, Dacian, Emerald and Capricorn. You'll see we pretty well hold our own. It is difficult to beat with Gold Road. But the graph I like the best here is basically the one on the right-hand side there, which is how many tonnes of dirt you have to move to get your gold out. And this really shows you what happens when you get a low strip ratio deposit and how good they look. And basically, if you compare us to our West Australian peers, we beat Dacian, Echo, Capricorn and Gascoigne because of that low strip ratio. And that low strip ratio also makes it a hell of a lot more robust. It means that your reliance on grey control when you're mining 40, 50 metre wide zones is a lot less. So it's a lot easier to really get the points on the board there. Market cap, we've been in this near production profile for about 4 weeks now. Nobody's put us into that until recently because we came out with everything at the one time. That's our sell moving forward. Market cap quite low, as you can see now, and that's the effort that we've got to put in and convince people that we are actually a near-term producer, which is not what they've thought of us previously. So we're just not on the page with those guys that look at that sort of thing. In summary, we think all of those things, we tick those boxes. Thank you very much.